Can you believe it? 6 years old. Oh my God, 6.
Yeah, God has definitely been faithful.
It's crazy. It seems like it was just yesterday. I preached at their youth conference.
Yeah.
Typical thing that we do. Ministered at their youth conference. I did my altar call and just had no idea, was completely blown away that not only the teens and the kids were coming down to the altar call, but the parents came down.
Right.
And I remember the morning after, I was still in awe about that, and I was praying, and God said, I've called you to be a link. I knew one day we would pastor, I knew one day we would lead the church, but it was that morning, after that youth conference, when those adults came down, that God revealed to me that the ministry that we would have would be to be the links. And here we are 6 years later.
Here we are. I had no idea that God was calling us to pastor. I probably would have said, try again. But God has been faithful. And 6 years later, here we are.
January 2014, that's when God said, start the Bible study in our living room. He didn't tell us to start the church yet, but we knew we would be eventually starting the Link Church. God had released us from Koinonia Christian Church. Of course, Dr. Ronnie Goins, still our pastor, released us to go prepare to start the church. In January, God said, start the Bible study in our home. And then we finally realized and heard the call that God said, plant September 2014. And we left the living room and went to the Oasis Ballroom.
And it was very surreal. The fact that we invited the whole world on Facebook to our house.
To our house. Strangers, the whole 5,000 Facebook friends. Hey, y'all, come to my house this Thursday night at 7 o'clock.
But, that night, it did something to me. I think it solidified and just confirmed, not that God hadn't already spoken, but it confirmed within my heart that this was truly the call that God had for our lives. And so you made me proud that night. Not that you haven't, but just watching you and listening to you stand there flat-footed preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, that confirmed a lot that night.
We went to the ballroom from the living room.
Ballroom from the living room.
Starting out at the ballroom when the Link Church first started was such a great experience. Even though the church was newly founded, we were just starting at the ballroom, not many members. I mean, we would come to church and it was literally maybe 10, and then the children's church, there was probably 6 or so, but through it all, from seeing the beginning until now, have truly been a blessing.
I enjoyed the ballroom, but it just didn't have everything that we needed. Having children's church in the kitchen right next door, and I'm preaching and kids are yelling and screaming. You can hear everything, toilets flashing and all of that stuff. So I remember it was time for me to start looking, and a thought just came to me just one day out the blue. I knew it was the Spirit. I didn't know it was the Spirit that day, but I knew it was the Spirit after it all worked out. And the thought said, call them all and see if they would even rent out a space to a church.
Wow.
I called them all, and they were like, we've never done that before, but we don't have any rules in place. Come, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And before we knew it,
we were in the mall.
Church in the mall.
Church in the mall.
I want to say one thing that I really loved about the Link Church in the mall is the way we were able to do our outreach. Being in the mall allowed us to walk right outside the doors, grab people that were already there, already in the area, and just bring them in.
When they heard us praising and worshiping the Lord, there were people that stopped, that were curious, wanted to know what we were doing, and I believe some of them joined because of that experience. So I think we did a great job at the mall.
I remember like it was yesterday. I was in Houston, got off of work, went to the hotel room, checked my email. We got an email from the mall saying that our contract was being terminated and we had 30 days to get out the mall. My heart dropped right then and there. I mean, I fell to my knees. I was like, at that moment, we're done. Church is over.
Yeah, and I can't even explain or articulate just the heaviness that I felt from you. Not just from me, but I felt the heaviness. But the thing about it is, through it all, you would still get up Sunday after Sunday, still preaching faith. And God took us through that experience.
Yeah, we left the mall involuntarily. We went from the church in the mall to the church in the movie theater. Oh my God.
Oh.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
When I think about the movie theater and my experience, I think about it being a really tough time. I was a brand new member. I had only just joined the church maybe 2 months, up to a month, before we had to leave the mall. And so we were having stuff in our cars. There was stuff in everyone's trunk. We were always trying to, find everything that we needed for the services. The seats and floors were sticky. We were cleaning the theaters. It was crazy. But I'm grateful that God allowed me to see the vision of the Link Church. And so I trusted, because God sent me to this church. And so I trusted what the word of the Lord has said to me to come, and that this was going to be my church home. This would be where I grow. And this has been where I have grown over all this time. So I'm grateful to be a part of the Link Church, and I love my Link Church family.
Yeah, that movie theater was an experience that I don't ever want to have again in my life. Thank God for the lessons that we learned.
Amen.
But I would have rather have read about all those lessons in the book than actually experienced that.
Yeah.
But it opened up the door, and God's plan was revealed through it all, that all things work together for His good. Because as we were searching for a space, we found the perfect space in Los Colinas, where we originally wanted the church to be, but we couldn't afford to be when we first started. And we found that space, 8356 Sterling Street, a building that we could renovate. Me being an architect, designer, I was able to see the vision of the building. We got in, we got the space, and bam, we went from 2,500 square feet in the mall to almost 6,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's crazy how God will kick you out of one place just so He can push you into where He really wants you to be.
Yeah, and when I tell you just the faith walk that this has been, from being kicked out of the mall, going then to the movie theater, and to where we are now, it's unbelievable, and at the same time, It is a miracle.
It's definitely a miracle.
Yeah.
We became members of the Link Church 4 years ago when it first came to this building on an invite from my niece Paisley, and it's been pretty awesome watching it grow from just a few members and then growing into the ministries growing, the outreach growing, being able to go virtually live and reaching a lot of people. It's just been a great blessing to be a part of that and to watch it grow.
As far as the members growing, what I've seen happen is people will come in that were invited by someone. They will go back and invite a family member that will come, and it starts growing from there. So you can say that this place is family oriented, and I suggest anyone and recommend to anyone to come be a part of the Link Church.
Me and my family have been here for just a little over 2 years now, and we've had the opportunity to see our gifts be groomed, our children be groomed into their gifts, and just be used for the glory of God without any issues or concern, and just to be around a group of people that loves the Lord and loves people and just wants to serve.
6 years. Listen, I'm so excited about the fact that we survived. We surpassed the statistic of the average church only lasting 2 years, and we're still here 6 years later, we're faithful people who still love God. We're still growing, still got issues, still got
Absolutely.
problems like any family.
Absolutely.
Yet at the end of the day, babe, we are still here.
And one thing that God has proven is that He's with us.
Yes, that's for sure.
He is with us. He has our front, our back, our side, and He is leading and guiding us every step of the way. And we just cannot go wrong with God leading us.
That's right. I like that. We cannot go wrong with God leading us. I'm committed that for the rest of our ministry, that I will follow God and He will lead us. And as you state, we can't go wrong.
And as you follow God, I will follow you. I got your back.
We in this thing. Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Link. We
Link
love
Church.
you.
We love you. God bless you.